So, this is our Kubota A5000 generator. This got us through the ice storm of 2021. It ran 2 freezers, 2 fridges, our fireplace blower, and a few other things. The only issue we had with it was the electric start wasn't working. So, took the starter down to our local rebuilder. Got it rebuilt. The solenoid was fine. It was a jam inside the motor. I'm going to pop that on, put the covers back on, test it real quick. Let's go. The only sucky part about this is where these bolts are. You were doing this quarter turn at a time style. That didn't take that long. This lead plugs in where? Where do you plug in? Out there. That grounds. I pulled this off months ago, and like everybody else, the rebuild shop was waiting on parts for this, so now I gotta try and remember where this lead goes. So that goes to ground. This is the trigger wire. That grounds to the case there. Ah, there goes right there inside this bundle. Sorry if it's a little dark. Good enough. let's see what happens. Well, and that gasket's shot, so that'll need to get pulled out and replaced.
Since it's running, you just give me a call when he's got time. So I'll drive around and see if it starts to work.
Alright, do I have spark? Where can I ground it to? I can ground it to the starter right there.
No, it's part of the search because I'm going to take some bags.
Well, I've got spark, not a lot of it. BPR 6HS. I'll hit it with a wire brush, see if it cleans up.
But he said it'd be okay to run it? He doesn't
Yeah.
think it'll die out on me out there anywhere?
No, and he said that actually because it's well, if I drive around, it might, I'm assuming.
You were driving it around before and it still ran like garbage. It's not going to get better.
Well, it looked like even rougher than I remember. So it could be because it was sitting so long. So maybe he's thinking if I run it a while, it'll burn off.
Much better spark. Almost. Close enough. I'll adjust the carb. She'll be good to go again. there's one stripped out bolt. Fuck. There we go. And there's the pull start hooked up again. So that's done. On to the next job. Oil change on the motorcycle. This is my 2014 CB1100 Honda. It was Honda's attempt at a Neo Retro. They beat everyone else to the game, so much so that they ended up discontinuing this shortly after. And right before Yamaha came out with the XSR and Kawasaki the Z900 Cafe and the W800. Let's get it done. There we go. As the name implies, this is an 1100cc engine that is actually air-cooled. What I understand, Honda took most of the original molds for the old CBs, remade them, or made them serviceable again, and then told their engineers, make it old but new. So, very similar to the original bikes. It just has fuel injection and 6 speeds now. It's a fantastic tourer. Always make sure you lube these, otherwise it's never coming off. and they only need to be hand tight. If you're not sure, yes, you can give it a good twist, but you don't need to grab a wrench or anything to put it on there. And for anybody wondering, I run Amsoil metric 1040. Let's see here. Can I get it on? Being an air-cooled bike, this relies entirely on oil for cooling it, so it has quite a large oil capacity, almost 5 quarts, which I will now dump much more cleanly into that pan than I thought I would. This oil has barely 3,000 miles on it, slightly over, but it's the beginning of the season, so we're going to do it anyway. Tech tip, these, there you are, these little O-ring copper crush washers, aluminum in this case, you can reuse these if you inspect them first. Make sure they're not deformed and super thin. This one, still thick, not deformed. I'm going to reuse it, just flip it over, and I will torque it to spec and no tighter. That's how they get deformed. So, back in there at the bottom of the air box, you can't really see it because it's super dark. There is a barb that lets moisture drain out of the air box. This is what collects it. This is disgusting. It needed to be drained much sooner. I love these T-Rex crash bars I put on, except for this. They're right over top of the oil fill. It's going to be a very slow oil fill. But that Amsoil pour though. Alrighty, it's full of oil again. Fire it up, reset the gauge so I know how many miles are on this change. We're in neutral. So, just over 3,000 miles on the last oil change. Not the right button. Hold this one. There we go. $39 miles on this tank. I'm 2 bars down already. As much as I love this bike, it doesn't get good gas mileage. I mean, it claims it does. 39.6, 39.5. It doesn't feel like it. But here we are, all set for this riding season. I'll let it drain back down, have some lunch, check it in a bit, and then back out to the shop we go. This is, as best I can tell, something like a 1960, 1970 Airco Mini Pro 125. It's a 120 volt welder, big flux or gas. Dad's trusty little old welder. Got the job done. The only issue was I melted the tip. I already took it out, but I melted the nozzle to the wire. Can't find replacements anywhere. I'd kind of like to keep this around since it's so small. It'd make a great portable welder. Just put flux core in it. But yeah, with no options for fixing that, I ended up picking up this Millermatic 150 from a buddy. It's in decent shape. It put down a V to flux just fine. I threw gas on it this morning just to make sure that everything would actually fit. It does have a replacement gun on it, a Radnor Pro. Kind of heavy. Not sure how I feel about that. Also not sure how I feel about the size on this guy. But it works. I can't complain. Picked up this 120 extension cord from Industrial Welding Supply this morning. $102 for that guy, 25 feet. I probably could have made my own. I'm not sure I feel super comfortable with that, so just went and bought one. Inside, I've already switched it from flux to DC positive. Got my wire loop on there. ER70S6 copper core. It'll do the job. I think I'm going to pull the other panel off and give this thing a dusting. Let's go. Alright, we're back. It's a couple days later. I've got the welder properly set up now and found out that a lot of the MIG welds I've done so far were reverse polarity, so nothing actually stuck that well. So today I'm going to grind off all that, or as much as I can, and re-weld it and hopefully get a much better bead. Here we go. Alright, so I got all that ground off. Now we're going to put some more tacks in. I have it bolted up to the engine just in case it does want to shift it all and warp from the heat. Trying to keep it as close to how it's supposed to be on the vehicle as possible. So, here we go. Feet's right where I left it. Feet's right where I left it. Hey, that's how a tack's supposed to look. Go.